Hey everybody, I just wanted to make a quick video to show how I use my WLED light that I've made here as a progress bar for my 3D printer so I can see how far along it is in the print. So to do this, we're going to use WLED. This is a light that I made here that I have in the corner of my office area, and it will kind of gradually fill up, if you will, as the print goes on. And then at the end, it will do a little success animation. So to do this, we need WLED and Home Assistant. And I use NodeRED. NodeRED is this plugin for Home Assistant that lets you get really, really deep in the weeds with automations, and you can do some really, really interesting stuff and get really nitty gritty with it. But to get started, the first thing we need is to go to WLED and make a couple of presets. So the first one we want to make is with the percent effect here. And you can see the intensity value here. If I change the color to rainbow, you can do any color palette you want, but I like the rainbow. But as you can see, as I change the intensity here, it fills up. So once I get up to 100, then it's going to be full. Oh, I need to disable the, it's printing right now, so I think we're seeing the progress. I need to disable the old one. There we go. That should take care of it. So you can see that when we fill this up, it will uh, act as sort of a progress bar. So we can add this as a preset. I'm going to not include the brightness on mine, but you can include the brightness for yours and change that there if you'd like. I'm going to save that. And then the next one, sorry, chase is the one we want. And I'm going to do default and then pick green here. And tweak this a little bit. Maybe slower and wider blobs. Yeah, I like that. Maybe a little bit faster. There we go. So we're going to now make a preset with that as well. I'm going to call this one success. And I am going to include the brightness and turn it up a little bit. There we go. Great. So now we can head on over to NodeRED and do the fun logic part of this. So the first step, we need a trigger node here. And I'm going to name this status printing, or running actually. And I'm going to go look for my entity, which is X1 carbon. Let's see. X1 carbon, it's in here somewhere. There's print status, but I don't think that's the one we want. Actually, it is. I'm sorry. So to look at this, we can come on over to here in the developer tools. We can look at X1 carbon. And I want the one that says running. Let's see, where is it? The current stage says printing, but this will change between like paused filament run out, scanning bed surface, all the little things that it does. And that's not really what I want. I just want when it's running. Here we are. So we're going to grab X1 carbon print status. Yep, that's the one we have there. And I'm going to say when it is running, then we will trigger this. So after that, the next thing we want to do is set the preset to the percent preset that we made just a little bit ago. And we're going to grab a call service node. And I'm going to name this percent preset. Our domain is going to be select. And then the service will be select option. And then for entity, and the reason we know that it's select here is if we go to, my light is called CL basement 02. But if we find 02 preset right here, you can see the domain here is select at the beginning, so that's what we want to use for the domain. And then while we're here, I'm going to copy percent here. You could just type that out, of course, but in an entity, we're going to go and find that entity that we were just looking at, CL basement 02 preset. There we go. And then here you can see at the bottom in the documentation for this service, we can provide an option. So we're going to go ahead and put that right in here. And we're going to put percent. And then that's it for this node. So that will, when we trigger it, turn the percent preset that we made earlier on. And we're going to connect that up like this. And then I'm going to grab an inject node and put that here. And this will let us just manually trigger this for like testing purposes. Sure, have fun. Okay, let's try again. There we go. So if I hit this, you can see our, well, that didn't work out so hot. Why not? Oh, I think it's full. Oh, okay, this is good. What we should have done here actually is set this to 0. So that way, for the preset, that way when you start the print, it starts off pretty much. And that will that will make it so you don't get this weird flash effect at the very beginning when you start a print. You could do that too, though, if you wanted, as an option. So there we go. I've just saved that now. And the next thing, after we set the preset, there's a chance that the light is off. So we want to make sure that the light is actually on. And thankfully, you can change the preset before you turn the light on. That way there's less of like a visible thing that happens, you know? Like you don't turn it on and then it changes presets. It's already like primed and on the preset that you want. I'm going to go ahead and grab CL basement 02, and just the light entity here is perfect. And I'm not going to worry about anything else. We're just going to call that done and connect it up, move on. So if I go over to here and I turn the light off, we do this. There we go. It doesn't look like it's turned on because the percent thing has, it's empty, but it is on. So after that, we can, I'm going to add a little comment here. Just keep things clean. We're going to call this part start automation. And then we need to make a loop. Took me a little bit to figure out how to do this, but turns out the magic of this node stuff is just that you can put things in a circle and then you have a loop. I don't know where all of my stuff went. What's going on? One sec. We're going to refresh this. There we go. All right. So next up, I'm going to grab another comment. And we'll stick it right down here. We're going to call this job percentage loop. So I want to grab a current state node, just like this. And then we're going to drag that down to there. So the light turn on after that happens. So I'm going to name this real quick. After that happens, then we want to grab the job percentage from the printer. There we go. Entity ID is going to be X1 carbon print progress, I believe. Print progress, there we go. And that's going to be a number 0 through 100 as a string. So we're just going to grab that, and then the way NodeRED works, all these nodes can pass data between each other in this MSG object, message object. And you could put this wherever you want. I could put it in ASDF. It's just like a typical JavaScript object if you're familiar with that. But we're going to put the entity into the entity state. So that's going to be the print progress. We're going to put that into message.payload. And if we go over to our developer tools again, we can see, actually, there we go. Print progress is 82. And unit of measurement is percent. So we're going to take that and put it into the message that's being passed. Then with that, we can call a service again. And our service is going to be set intensity. That's what we'll be doing in here. And our service is going to be number. And the reason we know this is because our intensity in here, wherever it is, there we go, intensity, it's a number. So we're going to call the number domain, or use the number domain and call the set value service on there. And go for CL basement 02 intensity. And then our data, our value here that we're going to set is msg.payload, just like we saw there. And just to show how this works a little bit, there are these debug nodes that you can use. And I'll stick one right there and then connect that to there. I'm going to have it put this out onto the node status. And with this, we'll be able to look at what the value is that's being passed there. So if we call this, now you can see it's jumped up to where the print is currently at, and 89 here is what it's printed out in the debug console. You can get here by pressing this little bug icon. So you can see we're at 89%, and we're racing the clock a little bit here, but the next thing we want to do is add a delay. I just use 5 seconds. It's probably excessive, but you can do whatever you want. You could also look at your print status and see how often it updates. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think Octoprint updates every 30 seconds, although that kind of thing can be updated very easily. So don't count on me, but you can look and zoom in here. If I go to like, what time is it? 2:20. So if I go today and I go 2 p.m. to now, you can see that was at 2:21:42, 2:21:58. So it looks like it's every 20 seconds or so, maybe 15 seconds. Yeah, 15 seconds. So I'm going to go with 15 seconds here. So we're going to set the intensity and then wait for a little bit, give it a chance to print, I suppose. And then we want to make sure that it's still printing each time. So that way if the print ends, we can go do something else. And we aren't just sitting here looping forever. So I'm going to name this still printing. Our entity ID, we want the print status, I believe. X1 carbon print status. Oh, the printer just finished, so it has beat us. That's okay. And we want to make sure that the state is running. And for 0 minutes, that's fine. And we'll save that. So now this top little thing output on this node is if state is true. So if the state is running, then this top node will be fired. And if that's the case, then we just want to loop this back around and go back through this little workflow all over again. And we'll just continually do that. However, eventually the print will finish. So for that, I'm going to grab another comment node. And I'll post the output for all of this in the description afterwards and share it. But we're going to name this print complete. Hooray! And when that happens, I'm going to copy this percent preset node that we made earlier, plop it down into here, and then instead of selecting percent, I want to do success, that other preset that we made with the green chase effect. So whenever we're finished printing, whenever the state is no longer running, we're going to fire off, I need to rename this, success preset. Now that's great, and that will finish it. And I think if I trigger it, it will go into the success here. It'll loop through once, I believe. Let's find out. Did I go? Oh, it's waiting. I'm going to set this down to 2 seconds. So there we go. It's gone into the success. Into the success effect. Wonderful. That's great. We don't want that to run forever, though. I like around like 15 seconds of that. It's not too obtrusive and it keeps it quick. But you could do whatever you want. So we're going to put another delay node in here for 15 seconds. Then after that's finished, I'm going to grab our turn on light and we're going to do the opposite here. Instead of that, select the turn off service. And we're going to turn that light off. And that should pretty much take care of it. So we're going to, when we finish printing, run the success preset for 15 seconds and then turn off light. There we are. That's pretty much the gist of it. I'm going to get rid of this debug node and clear out all that junk. Deploy it. And now, if we run it, let's see, that for 2 seconds, and then success. Actually, in here we can specify a transition. I'm going to go ahead and add the transition to when it turns off of, let's say 5 seconds. Nice and gentle. Deploy that, and you can see the light turned off. So we're going to try it again. Here we go. Success. Then there we go. We're going to turn the light off. Nice and slowly it fades out. Beautiful. So that's how you set up a 3D printer progress bar with NodeRED and Home Assistant. I hope this is helpful. If anybody has questions on this, please leave a comment. I'm more than happy to explain and try to walk people through this. NodeRED is pretty confusing at first. It's a lot to wrap your head around how all these services and stuff works, and I'm hopeful that seeing a real world example of something is beneficial to people. So yeah, if anybody wants to say anything else, let me know. Thanks. Bye.